All right, so Palladium Energy, we're a utility scale solar and solar plus storage developer and investor, right? So we're committed to providing clean and sustainable energy across the United States through the origination, development, and financing of renewable energy projects. And so this is a renewable energy project. It's a large solar farm. You might have seen one that's pretty close to the Asheville airport. They roughly comprise of, from 100 acres to maybe 1,300 acres. So like really large solar power plants, and these are feeding energy into the utilities and large corporates, and so we get to power like cities and stuff. So what we do is we're a project development company. So if you think about like a real estate development company, right? They acquire like a piece of land, get all the entitlements, and then get them built. So we're developers there, and also we're a project finance company. So mostly our activity is based off of acquiring projects from developers who don't take it all the way to them being built. And we're in multiple states. We have 3 projects in North Carolina, about 5 or 6 in Virginia, another one in Pennsylvania, some in Texas, and et cetera. So that's us in a nutshell. A little bit about me. I'm born and raised in California. Before I got into solar, I was in real estate development. In 08 happened, and I decided to change my decision, not the market's decision, to change fields. And so I joined a company called Topco Scientific, which is a semiconductor company. They build chips and do everything from solar panels and all that. So my first solar project was an off-grid wind, solar, and battery system. 1 kilowatt systems. We shipped about 500 units across rural Africa and rural Asia, and so we saw lights turn on where lights were never turned on before. So fell in love with solar there. Being from California, the California market started opening back up when the solar tax credits were put into place in 2008. So started developing projects there. So started my career in 2009, been in it for about 13 years now. Did a lot of solar projects in California. In 2014, started my first solar development company, doing the same thing in California, Oregon, Washington. I eventually went overseas and did some projects in Mexico, Chile, Argentina, and Japan. After that, I was hired as the VP of New Market Development at Palladium Renewables, which is a local solar development company. And they're about 800 people now. So it's really exciting to be part of the kind of growing a solar company in Asheville. So next slide. So this is us in a nutshell. The company, we're about 5 people. We've raised about 2.25 billion in project financing between sponsor equity, tax equity, and project debt. We financed about 1.7 gigawatts. We'll learn about that later. We've done projects kind of all over the place, 15 states, 4 countries, and et cetera. We'll go to the next slide. So what is utility scale solar? So this is residential. The customer is our homeowners. It's about 12 to 14 panels, and the sales cycle is about a couple of weeks. This is commercial and industrial. So the customer base is our businesses, manufacturing and industrial clients. Typically about 30 to 400 solar panels. It takes about a couple months for a sales cycle. And next is what we do is utility scale solar. So this is the project that I did in Mexico. We serve utilities and large corporates like Facebook and Amazon. It's about 30,000 to 200,000 solar panels. It takes about 2 years to get this kind of full sales cycle. And to show kind of how big it is, this is me on a plane taking a picture of our solar farm. And that's the scale of what we're seeing. So a little bit about why North Carolina. I moved from California here. So in 2018 is when I moved to Asheville, North Carolina. We see that North Carolina is the second most installed solar state, right behind California, but by far margin, really, right? So if you see Florida right here is the number 10, which is really interesting. Who here has watched Facts of the Future? right? So Doc Brown says we need 1.21 gigawatts, or gigawatts really, the power flux capacitor. So Florida could do that in 2018. So now fast forward to today, right? Now we see, this is where we are now. So earlier we had 48 gigawatts of total capacity. Now we're at 77, almost double in the last 4 years now. I guess 3 years. It's a little bit outdated data, but so now we're seeing a little bit of differences in kind of solar being propped up, right? So Texas jumped five spots. California is still number one, but North Carolina moved back, and Florida jumped 6 spots up, right behind North Carolina, right? So solar is exploding, not because of political issues or whatever it may be, but it has become a very cheap cost of energy. It is now cheaper to install new solar plants than to operate coal plants. So a little bit about Palladium. One fateful day in April 2019, Palladium was born, founded by myself and 2 other partners. A couple of months later, we began our capital raise efforts. So hey, we have a very good kind of background. I'm a developer. I develop projects all over the United States. My partner is leads financing, so he's financed a ton of projects, even sold projects to the likes of like John Hancock Life Insurance Company. And our third partner has done multiple technologies from gas plants all the way to solar. So right around this time, right here, we got into exclusivity with an investor and got an LOI, got all the way through to documents, and it was left at the altar. So we're like, oh wow, that was like the first thing we didn't do. So we put together a portfolio, put ourselves on a slide deck, went out to pitch, almost got there, but didn't do it, so did it again. And around this time, same thing happened. So we're like, well, we need to make a pivot. What do we do? So we put our money where our mouth was and acquired our first portfolio of projects in North Carolina with our own money. So we did that. And within 3 months, we sold that portfolio. So that was kind of our proof of concept. But if you take a look, it took a year for us to kind of get this going. So the capital raise efforts, fortunately, happened thereafter. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we secured our first round of capital after we sold our first portfolio. So we had to show our MVP of sorts, right? So to show that we can do it as a team, not that we're just a team without any track record. So we raised our first round of capital there, and shortly thereafter we acquired another portfolio or an exclusivity to acquire another portfolio. We hired 2 employees. Next, acquired our second portfolio shortly after that, and then we secured our second round of capital, which is about 3 times our first round of capital. And then next, so we acquired our third portfolio in the next several months, and then we got an increase of capital commitment from our current round investors. Right. So I think this is kind of the trajectory of Palladium Energy. Go to the next one. Next. So the challenges that we have now is we're in a very competitive marketplace, right? Large, kind of like, NextEra and Goldman Sachs and all those folks are kind of getting into the market. However, it's still a very nascent industry. It's very early. So the solar industry is younger than Amazon is as a company, right? So utility scale solar started happening around the time I joined utility scale solar development. It's about 2006 is when we see kind of large scale stuff happening, and Amazon was founded in 1994. So it's a very nascent industry. So there's a lot of headwinds and a lot of gyrations in the marketplace. And internally we're bandwidth constrained. We just got a new round of capital, and we need to grow. So our business goals is to grow the company methodically. What we do not have the ambitious fees to be a massive company, but we want to grow the company in a way that we could deploy a lot of solar and kind of grow that kind of clean energy economy, right? We want to increase our market reach because right now we're just 5 folks. We've done a lot, but we need to start doing that to what I think will be really helpful within here is to understand and build a strong brand, right? So we're a small business now, but we want to grow kind of our presence there. So the question is for everyone here is, how do we scale, right? So again, we have a new capital commitment from our current investor base. So you guys are doing great. Let's increase your capital commitment. It's about 5 times the second round of capital. And we need, specialized talent to expand the team. Solar developers are basically, are as expensive as software developers with a new tech. So very expensive to hire folks, but definitely need a good team to tackle really difficult issues. And for right now, we do have a good reputation in the market. We're doing a lot as a small team. We're growing methodically. We're showing at conferences and podcasts and all that stuff, kind of growing that region. So, and that's kind of how we scale. That's kind of the question that we have here today. So just a quick closing before we kind of get to the discussion is, I think this is what I kind of tell everyone being in the industry for about 13 years now is that it's not all doom and gloom with climate change. It's not all like we're in the past 10 years we've seen an explosion in EVs, in new green technology, energy efficiency, right? So it's not this like doom and gloom. Things are actually happening. We're surprised on how little impact that politics actually made in the effort to move to a clean energy economy. Without much government intervention, Tesla propped up and made EVs extremely good looking, right? And so we're to see the economy grow up and a lot of companies starting up. And so, I think there are a lot of ways to participate in the clean energy economy and not feel like your efforts are to waste. I don't feel like mine are. So that's it for the presentation.
So Nobel, what as a community can we do to help you?
Yeah, so I think the issue that we have now is that we're pretty bandwidth constrained, right? So we're a well-funded company with our last capital injection. So I think understanding from maybe gathering some ideas on how to scale the company, how to grow a brand that's a kind of a B2B business rather than B2C business. Right? Before I've been to direct to consumer businesses, but not a kind of direct to business kind of business. I'm here seeking help with.
So B2C, like?
Yeah, so business to consumer. So like if we sell solar panels to residential, like that's B2C. So the consumer is people. But for us, we're business to business. So we had to sell our projects to like Duke Energy Progress, Duke Energy Carolinas, or Dominion, the utilities. And so that takes a lot of like reputational buildup and a lot of kind of capital. So luckily we have the kind of capital stack kind of set, but now we have kind of what I'm looking for is to kind of build a broader reach. And build a brand.
Okay, we want to open up for questions. How does that sales process work at smaller scale?
Right. So right now, so we were able to get 3 projects